Hey guys, so I thought we'd take a look at one of my all-time favorite controllers, the 8Bitdo M30 Bluetooth, which has compatibility for Switch, Windows, Android, and Mac OS. And they do list the compatibility on the back of the box here, so shouldn't have any problems with that. It looks pretty standard and straightforward. Now let's pull the controller out of the box and take a closer look at it. You also get an instruction manual and a USB charging cable with it. Pretty standard for a controller. Now the other thing I will note is this USB charging cable is very smooth. It's almost got a matte texture to it, which is kind of nice. The instruction manual you probably won't need, but it does show you how to pair your controller if you have any questions about how to pair it. Now, all in all, it does have pretty good build quality. I'm not a fan of the seam at top here, but it's not bad, all things considered. Now, on the back, it does show you how to pair it with the different input modes it supports. Up top, you have the two bumpers here, and the pairing button, as well as the charging port. Bottom, you just have the LED notification light. Now the D-pad is a very solid D-pad. Very comfortable, somewhat clicky. I wouldn't consider it a mushy D-pad at all. Now the buttons are pretty quiet. I do notice that the A, B, and C buttons here are very loose. Not enough to bother me, but when you run your fingers over them, you do hear the looseness of the buttons. Down here on the bottom, you also get your select button and a couple other buttons which function changes depending on the mode you select. Throwing it up against something like the 8Bitdo Pro 2, its older brother, you can kind of see the size difference. Fitting it right over top. The only difference would be the grips on the bottom here. All in all, a very comfortable controller to use. I will say it is extremely light though. That's one thing that surprised me taking it out of the box. I did not expect it to be that light. So yeah, let's try pairing them quick and see. So let's put it into, just to show you how quick it connects. Start and X immediately connects it to my Android device. And if I want to connect it to my computer, it would be the start button and D. Or start button and B, sorry. So let's connect it. And immediately it's switched over. Holding down the start button will shut it off. And let's start it back up. So you can see it immediately starts back up and shuts off. It will connect to the last mode you connected it to, just turning it on. So if I have it hooked up to my Android device, it will immediately reconnect. So first time pairing it, let's press the start and the X button to connect it to my Android device. Hit refresh here. And it immediately pops up. And that's it, paired to my device. Let's try some gameplay. So here I have it paired to my Xiaomi Mi 9T, and I'm playing some Streets of Rage with it. One thing I will note is there's almost no input lag. I can't detect any personally. Now, of course, growing up on Genesis, this controller makes me feel right at home with the gameplay on here. Genesis and I would say Sega Saturn would be the two systems this one shines at. Now, if I show you right away underneath the controls, it does actually register as an Xbox One Bluetooth controller. Now RetroArch did also automatically recognize the controls and map it accordingly, so I didn't have to manually set this up either. So the other systems I really enjoy with this would be Game Boy Color, and then of course the Genesis and Sega Saturn. Basically any system that doesn't need a joystick, this is my go-to controller. The battery on this controller as well is also really good. I have yet to charge this thing, and I've used it for about a month on and off. Now, because the controller is very light and thin, it does make it a great controller to grab and stick in a bag and take with you on the go. Anyone looking for a solid controller, decent build quality, good battery life, and a nice size will be happy with the 8Bitdo M30. Another great feature of this controller would be the signature D-pad, which is very reminiscent of the Genesis D-pad. The 8Bitdo M30 loses 1 point for the loose A, B, and C buttons. The seam up top, about half a point, just looks a little cheap, but it's a great controller, easily recommended. I'd say this gets a solid 8.5 out of 10. Thanks for watching.